Dylan McKnight is a UNC Charlotte master's student in urban design and community planning. His capstone project was to design a park for the Reid Park Neighborhood, the historically African-American community in West Charlotte.
You know, I came in with an undergraduate degree in botany, horticulture, and I came to UNC Charlotte because I saw an opportunity to learn how to become involved in communities and change them for the better. That was the whole reason that I entered urban design and community planning.
It's through botany in part that he got a lot of the conversation around the park initiated, right? That he started to describe to people the benefits of the climate of the region, of biophilia as a kind of intellectual engagement, but also as a way of beginning to think about the health and lifestyle of the neighborhood residents themselves. That open space has a direct relationship, for example, to the healthy lifestyles that we'd like to have available for all the youth in all of our neighborhoods.
The most important part of Dylan's work is that it is a joint partnership between the university and the community. And by that, what I mean is the types of scholarship that he's involved with is called community engaged scholarship. And UNC Charlotte was recognized back in 2009 by the Carnegie Foundation as being one of the important universities in the U.S. using this model for transferring information from the classroom into the community.
The community planning workshop that Jose and Yanni teach was critical in helping me learn how to take on a project like this, like the Reid Park project.
We try to put planners and geographers and architects and urban designers all together to try to address issues that we see are of value for various neighborhoods in and around Charlotte. To this point, we've worked with about 6 or 8, and that's a partnership not only between the students in the class, but also between the City Building Lab and what we call SHARP, which is Yenny's organization in geography called Charlotte Action Research Project.
The relationship with SHARP and the university, which actually is a 25+ year relationship. But with SHARP, it started back in 2008, and that has been most effective and dynamic.
And they teach that what you ought to transition into is the community learning how to do it itself, so that they're not reliant on outside entities all the time to bring resources or information in. They begin to learn how to, take on projects and accomplish projects on their own.
I think Dylan's project is a really, really strong example of this, because if you think about it, the county has now adopted a plan that was developed by the community with the support of a graduate student, and adopted that in a way that when they come out and give PowerPoint presentations in the neighborhood now, it's actually Dylan's and the neighborhood residents' slides that are up in the PowerPoint presentation.
And now I've given all of the information to Ricky so that he can go by himself and present anywhere, which he has. And to me, that's a signal that the methods and approach that Yanni and Jose teach in their community planning course work.
We started having community meetings. We had steering committees that actually met with Dylan on several occasions.
I put a pen in their hands and we looked at maps and drew on the maps and selected areas in the proposed park land that might be better for a pavilion or a splash pad or a basketball court, and then other areas that might be better for a dog run area, a dog park area.
Dylan's approach was to promote and encourage resident participation throughout the process. For example, when we got to the idea of splash pad, that was something that the kids identified that they wanted to see. When we got to the part about a community pavilion, that was from the need to have a place where the community could gather around community events, like a neighborhood festival, and feel safe and secure in those activities.
The residents also, or I should say the core group also, took a stab at laying out the trails, where they would go through the park, how you would get from one location to another inside the park. And those I took back into the studio and tried to compile into a master plan that reflected all of the design attempts that the core group had put down on paper.
As a geographer who is concerned with community development and how communities evolve and how they operate, this is a great laboratory type of set of data that we can use to look at the whole community engagement process that Dylan was involved with, the various strategies he used for collecting information, the partnerships that he built with the neighborhood, and then at the end of that process, how successful it can be in terms of coming up with a viable community solution.
Well-designed and properly implemented parks and public open spaces enhance property values, they enhance social capital, and that effect has been studied and documented in a wider area than just immediately adjacent to the park.
What we do here in Reid Park is not just about Reid Park. I think many of these things apply to the West Boulevard corridor as a whole, and so we can take the lessons learned here in the community and the partnerships and the relationship with Charlotte and apply it to a corridor that has been in a great need for revitalization.
You'll see economic benefits, social benefits, environmental benefits.
And the biggest impact that we want to have is for this greenway and interior park to be connected to the educational environment in the community at Reid Park Academy and create a true world-class 21st century learning environment.
Dylan is representative of a particular set of qualities that we think is unique to our urban design program, and that gives our urban design program a kind of richness that we strive for. We like to think that by bringing in students like that to our program, students with different disciplines as their undergraduate degree track, they add something to urban design and planning that I think we wouldn't get if we only had planners.
To be able to stand back and hear the story and to see what he's accomplished in such a short period of time is really quite rewarding and certainly reassuring for me in terms of what community engaged scholarship at UNC Charlotte really can make happen.